Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see you all. There'll be more coming on, I'm sure. And I've realised I've got a growing band of followers on YouTube now. I've made it happen. I've got feedback coming in. Has somebody got something happening? Anyway, listen, I want to, first of all, I'm Lisa Ware. I'm a senior group leader. Been in the business 20 years on Sunday. Can't believe it. You get less than that, don't you, for life?
Congratulations.
Actually, I love every minute of it. I love every minute, as you can probably tell. So I'm very excited about today because it is the fundamental of this business, and it might be duplicating something very important, but I actually believe that there is nothing more important than what I'm about to tackle. I learned something amongst many things yesterday. I was at the Senior Group Leader Conference and it was astonishing. One of the co-oarsmen in the Cox's 8 Sydney 2000 Olympics that also won a gold medal along with Andrew Lindsay was Ben Hunt Davis, and what an incredible man he was. He actually led the conference and he was astonishing, and I wrote pages and pages of notes here. But one of the many things that he did, he talked about fundamentals, and there are some fundamentals, and I think this is worth you writing down. So good leaders are not, oh God, are not, sorry about that. Let me just turn that off. Are not duplicatable. All right. Good leaders are not duplicatable, but good systems are duplicatable. And network marketing, the essence of it, is all about creating duplication of simple skills. And we have to take that on board. And most importantly, and I think even at any level of duplication, no matter which level you're at, what you don't wish to be is a UW Wikipedia. You can't. It's impossible. I mean, I sit with about 2,400 partners. Imagine if every partner, even once a week, asked me a question and I bothered to find out and answer it. I'd never get anything done, would I? Nothing. So what we've got to do is help people become very self-sufficient. And that also goes for the fundamental of helping them build their business. And what is that fundamental? Well, it's actually, do you know what? You'd think Rob Barris would know that after 3 years, 4:30 is Lisa coaching time. I can't believe he's ringing me. I'm going to let it go. So what we've got to say is, what is the fundamental? Well, the fundamental is actually gathering customers and recruiting. That's it, isn't it? It's bring people in to help them, to show people how to reduce their bills so that they can earn a sensational income. And that's really the fundamental of our business. It's entirely that. So what do we have to be good at? We have to be good at gathering customers and gathering prospects for the opportunity. And if you bring that back to basics, what does it come down to? It comes down to having an incredible list of contacts and contacting them. Now, there are many new people that have come into the realms of network marketing of recent years and believe everything can be done via texting, WhatsApping, Facebook messaging, and all those other things. Okay. Yes, some of it can be, but it's not real communication. And in fact, yesterday, I was really delighted to realize that all the things I talk about are actually the right things. In fact, I felt totally vilified because there was Wes Linden who spoke about doing welcoming calls, and I do welcome calls. There was David Ross saying about, you know what, there is what we call, every day we have these self conversations, okay? And these self conversations are generally negative. I mean, who who constantly thinks, oh, I did that wrong, I can't do this. Do you know what? We're more negative than we are positive, and it's a human nature. And maybe on the positive, you could say that's because we want to self-improve, which we should. But generally speaking, what we're doing is telling ourselves all the time we're useless. That's not good. It really isn't good. So there's a curve. We want to go up and have good conversations with ourselves, not down. Yeah. So I'd say that that was really important, because if we have positive conversations, we're going to have more success. If we have very negative conversations with ourselves, we're going to have not success. We're going to have failure. Now, how do we get success right from the start? And it never stops continuing throughout. And that is the art of picking up that damn phone and calling people. I'm sorry, guys, it doesn't change. It is the most fundamental thing. All right. So first of all, because we're in the business of duplication, I'm going to share with you my screen and show you exactly what you can find for yourselves. And also that means you can coach your teams to do this too. So I'm on my desktop, my dashboard of my partner portal. Ours are all pretty similar. It's the learning portal that we want. So if you write learning portal and then go to the A to Z, click that, and then go to G. G is for getting appointments. So look, here we go. Let's press G. Now in here is a wealth of information, including everything you know about building a list. Now, when I bring in someone new, I never shortchange them. I believe I don't shortchange them, because of everything that they need to require to do this. The fundamental is, how can we give them the confidence to build a list and to pick up the phone and to phone people? And I promise you, wherever you are, future team leader, senior team leader, group leader, senior group leader, it doesn't matter, and beyond. This never changes. This is what it's about. And if you can get good at this, do you know what? You can duplicate that, because it's about creating that system. And there is a positive system and it works. Okay. So on the partner portal under Fast Start Plan, it says 30 minutes. Now, actually, I'm going to say, perhaps I'm being a bit of a maverick, but I don't think that's right to say it's 30 minutes, because I set aside 1 hour, always. The Fast Start Plan part, to be honest, can often be done in about 20 minutes, but 40 minutes is now needed for the fundamental part. So I always bring up the memory jogger. I'm not going to show you that because it's there, all right, and we've got it. You've only got to type into search on partner portal memory jogger and up it comes. You can print it off. I send that to every new recruit. I also sit with them and say to them, look, if you have a list of 15 names as it advocates here in the Fast Start Plan, that's a good start. But, you know, if you ring the first 8 and they're on holiday or they're busy on exams or there's 101 things that could take them away, the reality of that is you're not going to feel you've got a very big business, because you're now left with only 7 names. That's not good. So actually, we've got to get them to at least 50, even to begin. And in fact, I help people to try and get to 100, because now they'll have some confidence. Because it doesn't matter if some people aren't available, they're just no for nows, yes for laters. It means they can carry on. And it's teaching them, this doesn't mean they have to know them. They don't have to know them. They just have to have been in contact with them. Now, I'm going to stop the share at this point, and I'm going to explain something that I've been taught. And I talk about this when I'm recruiting. Listen, guys, I am the world's worst at Facebook. I don't have an Instagram. I don't have a TikTok. And I'm sure there's loads of other social stuff out there, and I don't do it. I'm very old school, okay? I do believe that picking up the phone and hearing somebody's voice, hearing someone's intonation is actually what counts. And they hear my passion. You can't fake passion. You just can't do that. Now, there are some people in this world that the phone doesn't marry up well with them. Now, I'm going to say this. In my life, I was married to a man that I adored. And honestly, when he was on the phone, it was like he was slitting his throat. The joke was, if you spoke to Chris on the phone, I was always asking him, "Were you okay? Are you okay, darling?" Because I thought he was about to commit suicide all the time. He had no intonation. It was no up and down, no passion. It was always flat. And funny enough, I'm with a nice, gorgeous, kind man now, and I love him to bits. But do you know what? He's not much better on the phone either. so I'm not ever going to use them for practice. But what I think you're hearing with me is I'm Lisa, and I'm passionate about this, and I get excited. And do you know what? People need to hear that stuff. They need to hear it, because you can't fake that. And also, they will, excuse the expression here, but they'll engage and buy into that, because actually that's what they want. Let's be honest, most people's lives, 9-to-5 jobs, are damn boring, and they're certainly not paying them well. What they're looking for is not just something that's going to help them get out of this rat race, but something that they're going to enjoy and have fun with. So actually, that passion and intonation is really important. So how do you explain to them that they don't, they'll be going, "Oh, but I don't know that person's number." And I say, it doesn't matter. This is something that I've learned. I'm an old dog, but you can teach me new tricks. And one of the tricks I've learned is on Facebook Messenger, there's this little green telephone. And if you press it, it rings the other end. And do you know what? You can speak to the person. So you don't even need to know their number. And I've actually signed people up. I haven't known them, but we've been kind of posting on Facebook, had similar interests, and I've rung them and they've answered to my amazement. And all of a sudden, there's a damn conversation. Now, I'm going to give you an example. I might have done it before, but it's a great one. So if we go back 2 years when it was serious lockdown, I was posting certain things, and there was somebody that was engaging with me, and he obviously had the same outlook on life. And one particular day he posted something, and I was just cracking up inside. And I'd heard about this green telephone on Messenger. So anyway, I moved to Messenger on my phone, and I noticed that under his name there's a green dot. And I believe that means they're online. So I thought, oh, let's try it. I pressed this green telephone. To my amazement, this man answers. His name's Mark. Well, we have an amazing little chat for a while about all sorts of things. And he proceeds to tell me that he's now lived 16 years in the house with a woman that he's divorced from. But they're still both living there, and they've kind of divided the house up. And he said, "Oh, it is time for us to finally kind of break up and stuff." And he said, I said, "Well, you must get on ever so well, considering you're divorced and you're still living in the house and sharing a kitchen." He said, "Yeah, we do." But he said, "We're not right for each other. So I've got to move." He said, "The only problem is, Lisa," he said, "you know what it's like when you move." Oh, he said, "I'm dreading it. I've got to set up the phone, the broadband." He said, "There's the gas and electric to switch." He said, "What a nightmare." To which I started laughing. He said, "What's so funny?" I said, "Do you believe in fate, Mark?" He said, "Well, yeah, I suppose I do." He said, "Why?" I said, well, that's what I do. I said, there's two parts to my business. I said, I reduce people's bills, set them up in places like you're saying. And I said, the other side is I show people how to make money doing what I do. He said, do you really? He said, oh God, I need you then, don't I? I said, you do. I said, look, when it gets about a week before you complete, I said, let's talk. And I said, I'll do everything. I said, look, we could do Zoom. And that's what happened. He didn't want to be a partner, but he's gone on to give me 4 referrals. I never knew him. But there you are. You can make contact. So there is no reason at all, really. We can contact anybody. These days, people are pretty approachable, pretty findable, yeah? So making that list is vital, and helping them to build it. Use that memory jogger. But more importantly, once they've filled that, say to them, hey, look, go in your phone. In fact, you guys, you could do this now. In the search of your contacts, if you type in A, have a look and see how many contacts come up. Now, when I do it on mine, it's quite astonishing. Let me do it today because it always changes. So if I go to contacts, press the search, the magnify, put A in, it says I've got 5,489 contacts. Do you know, that's an awful lot of people. Now, obviously, there are a lot of people that may be customers and people I know, but you know what? Get a new person to do this. And all of a sudden, I say to them, do you know what? These are all people you can call. And in lockdown, and I know Annette was doing this, we all got to the point that we felt we were sort of drying up. There were no winner minis going on, and you know, and all of a sudden it was like, how can we reach out? And in fact, it was someone else in the network that told us this, and I thought, what a fabulous idea. So start ringing people. Now, this is an interesting thing, guys. I bet you there's some names in your phone and you don't know who they are, because I had lots. And I remember ringing one guy, and he answered the phone, and I said, oh, is that Richard? He said, yeah. I said, Richard, you're in my phone. You must be important, but I hate to admit this. I don't know who you are. I'm Lisa Ware. Do you know who I am? Now, of course, it's a hilarious moment. And he said, yeah, I know who you are. I said, oh, Richard, come on, take away my agony. Who are you? And we had a catch up. And you know what? You can make those calls. And I said to him, well, I'm still in Utility Warehouse. I said, do you know what? They've just brought something new in. I'd love to share it with you. Have you got, can I reach out to you? Can you give us 20 minutes of your time? And let me run through it. Do you know what? Anyone can do that. How can you help someone build a fantastic list? What a great way. So there's the list building side, which I do within that Fast Start plan. Now it's the essential bit, and it's calling. And I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. So there's the list building now using scripts. Okay, there's all sorts of stuff on here. Look, tips to get over your fear of the phone. Structure your time to be effective. Turn making calls into social. There's all sorts of stuff. But if we look at the scripts, wow, look what the company's done. Look, guys, you can teach people this. One can play a little vid. It's 1 minute 36. You can download further scripts. Let's click on it. Look at that. It's all there. It's all there. Now, I send this stuff to my new recruits and I ask them to digest it. And then I get back to them. And I don't know whether other people are doing this, but I'm sharing you what is working for me. Okay. No point in me sharing things that don't work. So we sit there together and I give them the psychology of phoning. Now, this has been borne out over and over again. And interestingly, overnight, as well as a lovely new senior team leader breaking, Anna Brooks Rowley, her team, there was another lady called Kirsty Hodgson in the same under Shelley Barker that went QD. And this lady, I'm sure she won't mind that she's being used as an example. She's a primary school teacher and, by her own admission, quite timid and really, 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 really worried about how to make these calls. But Shelley stuck to her guns, as I do, and she said, look, will you do us a favour? Will you not detract from the script? When you start out, you're looking for practice sessions. That's it. Remember this for your new people. They are not going to talk about services, gas, electric, nothing. They're going to say, I've started a new venture. And you might want to say, before I'm let loose on the public, I need some practice. I've got to get off the theory pages. I've got to move into the doing. Because actually, do you know what? I'm sure Annette's other half, Jim, yeah, you had to do theory, but crikey, you had to get in that driving seat and do some practice. That's the reality. So there's no different here. So what we've got to teach them is it's actual practice. That's all they're going to do. They are not going to mention services. Now, come on, guys. Reality, doesn't everybody push us? Oh, come on. What's it all about? Of course they do. I'm not sure saying, oh, well, I just need you for my training. You be one of my 6 is a good answer. I'm not even sure. I can't explain it over the phone. It's like a haircut. I need to be there. I don't think people will accept those answers. I wouldn't. So I say to all of my recruits, if they push you, say, all right, you've twisted my arm. Look, it's about an incredible discount club where every day we spend money, we get money back on everyday spending. How would you like to get money back on everyday spending? And that's usually enough to satisfy their curiosity. Okay, so then you just go straight in. Now, this is the bit that's so important and it gets missed. It is the alternative close. Now, why do we do it? Because people want choices. People want options. They don't want to feel cornered. They want to feel they've got a choice in life. And we've got to help direct them. Now, I've got a new lady I just recruited. She did the first bit brilliantly. She forgot about the alternative close and said, when are you free? And of course, she couldn't get them to come up with any times. Because if I said to you, Ian, are you free next week? You'll go, oh, no, I'm busy, Lisa. Oh, no, I've got to wash the dog. I've got to do this. Yeah. And the reality is people won't find time. But if you actually say to them, look, my coach has given me a diary and I'm looking at mine, and you know what? I'm free Thursday during the day, and I've also got Friday during the day or Friday evening. Are any of those times any good for you? Now, what it makes them do is actually focus their brain, and they think, oh, I need to look at the calendar, or I need to look at my diary. And it makes them actually look at it. Now, here's the weird thing. When you give somebody a choice, I don't know why, but they feel they need to choose something. And they may turn around and say, yeah, I can do Friday morning. Friday morning's good for me. So then I give them another choice and I'll say, well, would you like that at 9, 10 or 11? Oh, how long do I need? About 20 minutes, half an hour max. Is that okay? So you've given them more choice. So now they're not feeling cornered because they want choice. Now, here's a weird thing. Don't ask me the psychology on this one. But if you've given them a couple of choices or 3, and none of them are any good in their diary, this always works. They turn around and they say to you, no, I can't do Thursday or Friday, but Lisa, I am available Sunday morning, or could you do, say, Tuesday next week? They feel obliged to give you a choice. Isn't that fabulous? And in fact, invariably, if they give you a choice, guess what? It can work with your diary. And there's flexibility. They feel the flexibility. They don't feel cornered, and it works. So spending the time Please don't shortchange this. Spending the time with a new person doing this is the most valuable, efficient time you will ever do. Getting good at this yourself is the most valuable thing you can do. There is no shortchange. As we move on and people know what we do, I can't say I'm starting a new venture. People think I'm a fraud, wouldn't they? What I do is I say, oh my gosh, something amazing's happened. I need to share with you. Do you know what? For the month of November, our company's giving a bill busting boost of £200. I'd love you to have an extra £200. Imagine that, 50% on what the government's giving back to us in their what they call rebate. This is free money though. This isn't the money we've already given them in taxes. This is actually free money from a company. How fabulous. So we have always got a reason to call someone and set the scene, but it's no different. It's giving them options. Now, what's the other major thing that needs to be born and you need to bother to tell them? You must say to them, if there are two people in the house that make decisions, it's really important that this practice session is with both of them. Shall I tell you why? Because if you don't, what happens is that person will say at the end of it, oh, I need to run this by my partner every time. And if I had £1 for every person that I've met that said to me, oh, no, I make the decisions. No, it's fine. And then I do the presentation and they go, oh, I must run it by my partner. Do you know what? Don't you want to spit? So this stuff is fundamental. And it is the building block of communication. It's the building block of an amazing business. And when we get good at this, do you know what? It's so much easier. Now, I'm also going to share with you, picking up the phone, speaking to someone is nerve-wracking. And I actually enjoy it, but I am going to be honest. Some days I'm like most people and I think, oh God, even the ironing is more desirable than picking up the phone. Who can find things to do rather than the essentials? Yes. So actually what we have to do is look at the list of the few people we want to call that day and say to ourselves, what's going to be the easiest one? Do you know what? Make the easy calls first, because actually once you get on the phone, all of a sudden you're in the flow. So I make welcome calls to new partners, and that's a fundamental in my business time. So I do the welcome calls first because they're just gorgeous. What a nice thing to do. Welcome someone in and find out about them and get them talking about themselves and what they're trying to achieve. That's really nice. Once I've done that, you know, I'm in the flow, and then it's right. Now start making those important prospecting calls. So I'm not sure if that's what you were expecting today. And I know it's a real basic, but there's nothing more important than this, because actually, if we don't do the building the list, doing the calls, we actually don't have a business. That's fact. So who would like to ask a question? Anybody? Or have I dumbfounded you all? Okay, there is more fabulous stuff that I've got to share next week, which is really good for every level, and I'm going to do that. But I really wanted to hit home this, because if we can get this right for ourselves, if we can bother, in my little piece that I've done about my 20 years, I've said the final big tip is be kind, be caring, be authentic. Because if you're kind and caring, that means you bother. It means you take an interest, and people know that. And when you do, and you go the extra mile, and we do all these lovely things in customer service, do you know what? They will be your referrers, and actually they will be the people that many of them will turn around and go, I'd like to join you in that business. And they'll be your partners. So I'm sharing the very, very basics, which is pick up the phone, pick up the damn phone, Stuart says. And on that score, just to say to you all, There are kickoffs happening. Please, if you've not booked one yet, please do. I've booked the Midlands, which is January the 7th. And the reason I've chose that, it's Stuart Ritchie, Just One, and they just do the most phenomenal job. They really do help, and I recommend it wholeheartedly. So get on and book a kickoff. I'm off to Super Saturday, this Saturday in Cardiff, being run by Ian and Jen Sutton and Derek Thomas. Robin Brooks is there. Because, you know, it doesn't matter how long we've been in, every single one of us needs a little bit of a oomph, a bit of a boost to actually keep us going, keep us on track. I'm actually feeling fabulous after yesterday. Yes, Ian.
So I've got a question, maybe not for today, but maybe going forward. One of the biggest problems I've had with this business has been self-belief. And it's belief in the system, it's belief not necessarily in the product, but in network marketing itself. I've just read with Don and Nancy Failure, the 45-second presentation. Now, there's things in that personally jumped out at me, and it's reinforced, I think, my belief in network marketing, because one of the biggest hurdles that a lot of people probably get out, it's a pyramid scheme and you don't know how to answer it.
Yeah, people still say it, Ian. They still say it, but I think they say it less, and I'll tell you why. The funny thing, if there's a positive of COVID, is that people were locked down, and sadly people couldn't work, they lost incomes, they lost their businesses, and there's so many people looking now to work from home that premise of working from home has now become the kind of the ideal situation, because it's going to help them get an extra income, having something secondary, but also they haven't got to travel. They can do this remotely, which is also saving them money, isn't it? So I think that's going away more and more. And do you know what, Ian? I've always said to people, look, what we know as pyramid schemes were outlawed in 1987. And in fact, the company that caused the rumpus was Amway. And it was because what they were doing, they were recruiting new partners, and you got a nice lump sum of money for doing so with no incentive to help them build a business. Now that was actually quashed. It was stopped. We don't earn a bean, do we, when we bring in a new partner? How good is that? How ethical. We don't start earning until we help them earn, which is marvelous. So I say to folk, look, first of all, there's that. And the second thing is, look, Richard Branson does not drive all the trains and fly all the planes. There's lots of people involved. This is exactly the same thing. The only difference is, do you know what? It doesn't matter what we are. We can go to the top in this without having to tread on somebody else's job in doing so, which is much more ethical. So yeah, masses of belief. I'm going to cover that sort of stuff on another one, but next week is going to be very exciting what I'm going to cover. I'm going to end it now because I'm aware I'm a few minutes over time, but I hope that was helpful. It's very much the fundamentals. Please look at your partner portal, look at all that stuff. It's really, really good. And remember, with your new people, don't shortchange them. Spend a good hour. Explain the psychology. Don't just tell them do. Explain why, because when they get the why, it makes sense. Okay, guys, gonna love you and leave you. Thank you ever so much for coming on. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Lisa. That was great.